What's going on, guys? This is the top 5 best loadouts or class setups for ranked play in Modern Warfare 2. We got the Vasniv, the TAC 56, FSS Hurricane, Castov 762, even though, people don't want to use it because I guess it's G8 or whatever, and then the Lockman sub. I stick with the Vasniv and the TAC, but if you guys like diversity, then I'm going to give you guys these as well. So we're going to start out with the Vasniv 9K, and this is the Brune Pendulum, the CAS 1 381mm, the FSS Sharkfin 90, the True Tack Grip, and the Broadside FCT. Now, a lot of people actually are afraid of a barrel on the Vasniv, but I honestly think it makes it so much better. Some people say that the ADS is slower. With this build right here, your ADS is going to be plenty fast. Now, the tuning is definitely crucial. For the Brune Pendulum, the gun kick control is at 0.30 inches, and the aim down sight speed is at 0.57 ounces. For the CAS 1 381mm barrel, the damage range is at 0.23 inches, and the recoil steadiness is at 0.27 pounds. This helps with damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity. You put on the broadside FCT tuning, aiming out stability is at 0.93 inches, and the aim down sight speed is literally maxed out to the bottom at -4. This helps with aiming stability, crouch movement speed, aim down sight speed, and sprint speed. And last but not least, we have the True Tack Grip. For sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control, I increased the sprint to fire speed by -0.16 inches and the aim down sight speed by -0.55 ounces. Now, with all the tuning that's done, this creates this Vasniv that actually ADS is very, very quickly, and the accuracy is very good. Now, long range, you try to avoid it, but as you guys see, this actually kills very fast, and probably considerably faster than the Vasniv you have right now. So try your best to avoid the long range gunfight just because that's not really optimal. It's really optimal for the short range and medium range. You're going to absolutely shred. So please give this a try, and you will quite literally, like this gun says, feel like the MVP. It's absolutely amazing. But we're going to move on to the TAC 56. Now, TAC 56 is what I like using. This build right here. Now, it's not the typical build. I think it's a little bit different. I have the 17.5 Tundra Pro barrel, and I increased the damage range by 0.27 inches, the recoil steadiness by 0.39 pounds. This helps with damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity at the cost of aim down sight speed and hip recoil control. Then I put on the Phase 3 grip for aiming out stability, hip fire accuracy, and recoil stabilization at the cost of walking speed and aim down sight speed. I didn't tune the length, but I increased the recoil stabilization by 0.65 ounces. If anything, if you wanted to increase aiming out stability, you can, but I don't think it's necessary. I also put on the high velocity 5.56 ammunition. I increased the bullet velocity by 4.35 GR and the damage range by 0.41 G. Put on the FSS combat grip. This helps with recoil control at the cost of aiming stability. I increased the sprint to fire speed by 0.29 inches and the aim down sight speed by -0.23 ounces. Last but not least, the TV X-Line Pro. Crouch movement speed, sprint speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control. I increased the aim down sight speed by -3.23 ounces. Now, these are all unorthodox type setups, but the end result is fantastic because as you guys see, the recoil is still very easy to control, but the great thing about it is you have a much faster ADS versus if you were just, trying to use this with your regular build. It probably have a slow ADS, probably takes a half an hour to actually get the ADS. With this, the sprint to fire is really good, the ADS is really good, and you're getting the job done. So please give this a try. I know you're going to do really good with this tack, especially if you've had a hard time using a fast tack with low recoil or a low recoil tack that, is just not moving fast enough to actually get up. The rest of these, like I said, these are all unorthodox, and you're mainly going to run into Vasnivs and TAC 56s, but I still want you to give them a try because my buddy actually carried me using this FSS Hurricane. So, he used a Brune Pendulum. This thing is actually really good. Brune Pendulum, it's muzzle, and this helps with vertical recoil control and horizontal recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. I increased the gun kick control by 0.23 inches and the recoil stabilization by 0.36 ounces. Put on FSS Cadenade 16-inch. For damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity at the cost of aim down sight speed and hip recoil control. I increased the damage range by 0.31 inches and the recoil steadiness by 0.21 pounds. The Demo Quicksilver stock for sprint speed, aim walking speed, crouch movement speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of aiming stability and recoil control. I increased the aiming out stability at 1.01 inches and the aim down sight speed by -3.10 ounces. Put on the X10 grip. I did not tune this. If you want to tune it, completely up to you, but I just helped sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control. So if you want to give yourself maybe some more sprint to fire speed, completely up to you, but I left that alone. I put on the FSS shark fin as well, and I didn't tune the length, but I decreased the aim down sight speed, well, increased the aim down sight speed by negative 0.34 ounces. So end result is this bad boy right here. I think it's fast enough. The only downside is long range. It gives me a little bit of a struggle. You know, it has low recoil, but as you guys see, it bounces all over the place. I really don't recommend the long range. I recommend short to medium range. That's where it thrives. Long range, I mean, if you're hitting your shots, I guess you won't have a hard time. But for me, exclusively, this is just talking about me, long range is like 50-50 for me. As you guys see, it bounces. I'm not having a great time with it. I have a much better chance using another gun for the long range gunfights and have somebody else. Maybe you guys can watch this video and you'll have a better chance using this long range, but I cannot. So that's just me. Now, the Cast-Off 762. This build right here is going to be off-putting to some people just because it's a build that focuses on the strength and not so much on the recoil, just because I wanted to have something that was going to be ADS and quick and strong enough to actually get the job done and have this in full effect, but you know, have a little bit controlling the recoil on my end. So I put on the Cast 10 584mm barrel. This helps with damage range, bullet velocity, hip fire accuracy, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, and movement speed. I increased the damage range by 0.14 inches and the recoil steadiness by 0.42 pounds. Put on the Sunline Pro and increased the far distance by negative 2.25 inches. Put on the KSTV RPK Factory for aiming stability and recoil control at the cost of aim walking speed, sprint speed, aim down sight speed, and crouch movement speed. I increased the aiming out stability by 1.08 inches, and I did not change the weight. Now, I could change the weight and increase the aim down sight speed. That might actually be helpful versus aim walking steadiness. So, I mean, maybe that would be the one thing I tune, but as you guys see, the accuracy does actually go down a little bit. So it's completely up to you. In my opinion, I'd probably just leave it alone. So, last but not least, well, there's two more. Demo X2 grip for recoil control. I increased the recoil steadiness by 0.81 ounces. And then the F-Tac Ripper. I increased the aiming out stability by 0.08 inches and the recoil stabilization by 0.65 ounces. This helps with aiming out stability, hip fire accuracy, and recoil stabilization at the cost of aim down sight speed and walking speed. Now, here's the result. Like I said, it's going to have a little bit of recoil, but if you can handle the recoil, you can have a great time with it. And it's not really that hard to control the AK's recoil. Like I said, it's a fantastic gun, and if you do have the accuracy on point, why wouldn't you use this? It's just an incredible weapon that probably kills faster than, in fact, like, probably more than any of these guns, most likely. Maybe it might be in competition with the TAC, but the last thing I want to show you guys is the Lockman Sub. The Lockman Sub is an awesome hybrid weapon to use. Well, let me clarify on that. Like, hybrid in regards to submachine gun, it's just very unordinary to use, but I still think it's a great idea to use if you don't want to use the Vasniv, if you want to be creative. So put on the Broom Pendulum for vertical and horizontal recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. I increased the gun kick control by 0.14 inches, and I didn't change the weight. Put on the FSS Shark Fin 90 for aiming out stability. I increased the aiming out stability by 0.18 inches, and I basically maxed out the aim down sight speed. It's at negative 0.75 ounces. I put on the F-Tac M-Sub 12 inch. I increased the damage range by 0.37 inches and the recoil steadiness by 0.21 pounds. It's also bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, and hip fire accuracy at the cost of aim down sight speed, movement speed, and hip recoil control. Put on the FT Mobile Stock for aiming stability, crouch movement speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of aim walking speed, sprint speed, and recoil control. I maxed out the aim down sight speed. Basically, it's at negative 3.48 ounces. So if you want to use that, completely up to you. And Lockman TCG 10 for recoil control at the cost of aiming stability. I increased the sprint to fire speed by negative 0.19 inches, and the weight is at negative 0.45 ounces. Aim down sight speed. If I didn't show this, the FSS Shark Fin 90, just in case. This is the outcome. This thing is absolutely incredible short to medium range. Absolutely tears. Long range is the only downside. It's kind of tough to actually use long range. But if you want to use it, completely up to you. I ran out of bullets right there. But it does get the job done. It has very low recoil. And if you guys want to see how fast the sprint to fire is, this is how fast the sprint to fire is. So it's a bit slower than the Vasniv that I showed you guys in that video. But if you guys want to use it, it still can get the job done. Just, I don't think as effective as the Vasniv, but just as fun.